Episode 255. We've come far, Pilgrim. In search of awesome. We're always in the Summit Salon community looking for awesome sauce. Who's blowing it up? Tonight is no different. Miss Allie Salyers is in my house. I'm calling her. She's a Mach 5 Stylist Jedi, and for those of you though that don't understand aeronautic geek speak, that means that anytime you're going at Mach 1, you're going at the speed of sound, and Mach 5 is 5 times the speed of sound. So as in sonic boom boom, right? Making really big lots of sonic boom boom. She is growing at supersonic rate, as you're going to see in a minute. She is at LoneStar Salon, Tumwater, Washington. Salon owner tonight is in the classroom as we speak, Lisa Musgrove Kibler. I had Lisa on not long ago, and she wrote a lovely little shout out for me today. Thank you, Lisa. And Summit Coach Kim Pearson, Kim Light Pearson, also weighed in today. I think it was Kim that blew in my ear about Allie, and so that's why she's here tonight. At any rate, let me tell you why I invited her on the show. On the front end of 30-something, first year, I think she didn't start until she was halfway through first year as an associate, 2020, and that 18 hours a week, 25, that's not bad. And now she's going to trend at 18 hours a week. She's trending to double that this year. I mean, you do the math on that. If you were going to compare apples to apples to a 32-hour a week service provider, she's in her first full year. It's like being a six-figure hairdresser. So to say that she's going at 5 times the speed of light, making sonic booms would be an understatement. Average ticket's $125, and when you really look at her haircut price at $59, she's running it almost 3 times that. Average service day is just under 5. 85 referrals so far year to date, so she is cooking, and you're going to see why in a second. Rebooking at 95%, cut it out. I mean, that's big. Very, very big. And retail at 21 points. So you can see why I was very interested in having her on. She's going to tell her story, so I don't want to take anything away from that. But her timeline in a nutshell: graduates high school 05, hair school 06, and 2020 level 1 stylist to level 3, now at level 4, and as I said, trending to double it in 2021. Her handles on Instagram, if you want to direct message her, is Allie at LoneStar, I believe, Allie at Allie Salyers on Facebook. And so she's in the game big time. So she is in my room now, my guest room, my green room. I'm going to bring her out, get her talking about her story, and then we're going to see if we can get her to share some of her secret sauce. Her and I were chatting a little bit about what she's doing before the show, and I think you're going to find it to be very interesting. So let's go back to get her now. She's there. We're going to unmute her, and you will make her feel very welcome by giving it up for her. Hi, Allie.
Hi, Michael.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. We were chatting a little bit before we went on, and you're in your kind of the spa room on the back end of a very busy day. And thanks for giving us a few minutes before you go home to your fam.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, we always like to get started with the story, because the story tells us kind of who you are, where you were, how you got to where you are, to give us an appreciation of your life. So what is the story? Who are you, and what inspired you to get in the game?
I am Allie Salyers, from Massachusetts originally. I graduated high school in 2005, and right out of high school, I went to cosmetology school. Following that, I worked under the tutelage of Michelle Chabelli, who's hopefully on this call right now. She kind of created her own associate program way back when and took me on. I would show up. She basically had no choice. I would show up after school and pretty much insist that I was going to learn from her. And then she hired me a few months later. I worked under her for 2 years and had a pretty thriving career then too. She invested a lot in me. We had dreams. We had lots of dreams back then. But just after some personal life growth and a lot of change for me, I really felt compelled to actually leave my job and go back to school for a little while. I did that. It was up in the Boston area, and I left all my clients, family, friends behind at Gasoline Alley, the Salon in Springfield, Mass. They are still rocking and rolling there. Michelle is incredible. Those girls are incredible. So go to them if you're in the area. But yeah, I ended up in Boston area, and that's what took me to Olympia. So fast forward 12 years, marriage, 4 kids.
Wow.
12 years out of the industry. Rachel Packer, a level 4 stylist here at LoneStar, met me, and within the first day of meeting me, found out that I was formerly a cosmetologist, still licensed in the state of Washington and Massachusetts. And she's like, why are you not in the industry anymore? And she pursued me hard and put me in front of Lisa. And then LoneStar just kept giving me opportunity, Michael. And so here I am. I took it, and I've been at LoneStar since March 4th of 2020.
Oh my, and so you started like 0 March 4th, 2020, and as an associate or level 1 or whatever, and here we are, we're a little bit over a year from that, and you're at level 4, I believe.
4.
Yeah, I mean, and you were telling me that inside of a 3-month window, you went from associate to level 3, so you had to be jumping every month.
I did, and I didn't even understand the summit program at that time because we were just going. We came off of COVID, and there were clients to take care of, and so Lisa and I hadn't even had a chance to really meet for her to educate me on the summit salon model. And so it was like August wasn't even quite finished, and we're sitting down in our first coaching session, and we discover that I am trending to make, 3 level jumps essentially into level 3. And I made it without even knowing that was my goal, down to the cent, Michael. It's actually kind of crazy. It was down to the cent of the goal I needed to make. And then my retail was off the charts, and my rebooking was off the charts. And I was promoted within my first 3 months.
Wow. Well, there's so much packed into what you just said. I want to just take a minute or so to unpack it, because in Summit speak, you were blowing the charts, meaning that you were at a level of productivity that was 2 to 3 levels beyond the level that you were at. And while you were hitting some other metrics like rebooks and retail, and so that really warranted jumping that quickly. There's a lot of people, frankly, in the Summit community that kind of violates their 10 commandments, and I'm saying no. The data, if the data and the demand says that this person is fast tracking, you don't want to be holding them up on old school laws like, well, we only raise prices once a year. It's like, shut up. This is that's old stuff. And so I really, kudos to you and Lisa for just allowing this to kind of blow the sides off of your brain box and be open. I'm curious because every one of those jumps you go up in price. What was that like for you and the clients that you're serving?
Well, that's a great question, because some of my clients are on the call, and I think, I love to just stress that it was always, that's why I even wanted to share that I didn't know what level jumping even was. I was just doing my job. I was just taking care of one client at a time, listening and doing great hair, So it honestly, Michael, because it was so natural and organic, as Michelle Shabelli, my previous boss, said, she's like, Allie, it just speaks to the fact that you were already a level 3 stylist when you started. It was just a natural fit. So they were really more excited for me. I just was upfront and honest with everybody about my growth. And frankly, it's been kind of nice because I've only been here for a year, and they had to get used to that really quickly. I don't know, they just celebrated and accepted what was, and I think they even felt kind of encouraged that they were in the chair of somebody who was growing and excited about growth and
I
passionate
love it.
about her job.
I love it. Well, the piece that I'm getting from the conversation is you didn't know any better to just, you were showing up and just, so you weren't restricted by what, I would call it, kind of like a fixed mindset. So,
That's right.
you were in the game for a few months before you started asking questions like, what's Summit? What are
Yes.
what are the level charts? And by then you were kind of like blowing through the levels. I think it's just cool that that Lisa and you had the foresight to just let it go and allow it to
Yes.
organic. And as a result, you blew the sound barrier. You blew the like you just like blew it up. So kudos to you. I can only imagine, you go from the east to the west, you got your family cooking, but you're out of the, how many years were you out of the game before you came back in the game? You told me that, but I missed it.
Almost a full 12 years, because I left my career in Massachusetts August of 2008, and I returned March 4th of 2020. So 12 years.
Wow. Well, this kind of shatters the myth of, a 12-year sabbatical to, get a life, and then you're literally on the diametrically opposite side of the continent. You get in the game and you make up for lost time. I mean, you basically slingshot in Mach 5. So it really tells people that have been in it a while that it's never too late. Like
No, it's not.
you made up for any time that you like shattered those myths. So
Yes.
I think that's remarkable.
Mm.
What's it
I'm
like?
humbled. And
What's it like
What's it
for you
like?
now?
Currently, Michael.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier, Lisa gave me the platform. I took the opportunity that she gave me, but she gave me the platform to grow. And I think I'm such a believer in employee-based salons because of that, because she's got this thriving culture here. I took that opportunity. She kept thinking about me, Michael, too, because I turned down the first opportunity. It just didn't feel like a good fit for my family, and that was really hard. But Lisa said, "Hey, Allie, thanks for being honest." She gave me 3 hours of her time in this interview, and it just wasn't a good fit. And she's like, we'll just keep touching base. And a couple months go by, and she reaches out about an accelerated associate program that the idea came to her through somebody else. And she kept thinking, if I'm going to do this with anyone, I'd like to do it with Allie Salyers. And I was so grateful. And I got to do it under the friend that referred me to LoneStar. I worked under her, though, for 4 days. And then the shutdown happened. And so that's where, right, I took that opportunity. I didn't understand the levels, but when I got on the floor finally again in June, I just took one client at a time, really focusing in on consultations and listening, and taking the skill set that I was fine-tuning during COVID. I was watching videos, taking L'Oreal classes, doing whatever I could to just freshen up those skills that Michelle always encouraged me. I very much still had, and were alive and well. And then in 3 months, level 3 and now level 4. And then I love to share that the last 2 weeks, I'm hitting over level 5 goals by myself. Like, I'm clearing level 5 goals. So I don't know. I really need to sit down and think about what's happening, because I've kind of been shocking myself, because it's felt really natural and good.
Well, yeah, and I see every now and then I bump in. I call you like a 1%er, a top 1%er, which is way different than the 20%. But because of the energy, because of the skill set, because your productivity, like, forget about rebooks and referrals and this is that. When you look at your service day rate, your average service day, your average week, as it relates to number of hours, like you said, even though you're a level 4, you're in level 5 productivity. Lisa and you have enough intuition to go, we need to accommodate that The other metrics are kind of like the rules of thumb, but the law, if you will, is that you're at a level 5 productivity, and that's what and I think that's what your decision making is based on. It takes courage, it takes vision, and there's a lot of people, frankly, in the community that need to catch up to that consciousness. They're not there yet. They'll go, well, it's always been this way, and it's like, well, what's that have to do with this conversation? She's unprecedented. So good for you. I want to pivot, because you and I were chatting before the show, and I just said, what are you doing? And the answer to that really wasn't so much about social media as much as the contact you're having with people before if they book and they're coming in. You're doing your own organic pre-visit consultation using texting and direct messaging and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd love it if you could give us a few minutes of how that's evolving.
Yes. Well, I even make the joke. I learn from these girls all the time with social media. I feel like it's an important piece of serving my guests and serving Lisa and the team to be a part of that. So you will see my feeble attempt on Instagram to do that. I'm growing thanks to a lot of these gals who like to help me. But Michael, I just really rested in, okay, what strength do I have? Like I didn't focus so much, even though, believe me, my husband would attest, I at home got a little nervous about the 12-year gap and all of it. But I'm like, I love people and I love caring for people. And this has been the platform that seems to have been given to me, and I'm getting that chance again. Like I lost it for 12 years, Michael. I honestly thought it was as good as dead, right? So when it came back, I was humbled, to say the least. And I thought to myself, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna take care of people. Well, how do you take care of people? You give them your listening ear and your time. So I've been doing that before someone even comes into my chair, especially if I've not serviced them yet. It may be somebody that I know, a referral, but if I've not serviced them yet, I love making a point of contact through texting, an email, or a phone call, or a FaceTime. I pretty much do that with everyone. And we kind of set the tone for the visit. I really try to understand what their hair goals are. I get current hair photos, inspiration photos. Not everyone always has that, so they're relying on me, which is great. I'll share photos, but it's just a time to get to know them a little bit. I also am super upfront with costs. So I educate my clients. I do not nickel and dime. I do charge my worth, but I also can service just about anybody if you're willing to work with me on a budget. Like, let's talk about your budget. People are so relieved by that. So right there, building trust. And then when they come in my chair, I ask permission. I say, hey, it's kind of my protocol that in a week, I like to follow up. A week usually gives you some time to live in this new cut, to live in this new color, to try this home care product. You're spending your time and your money with me. I would really love to follow up with you. And to this date, I've not been denied. And it seems like with that, that rebooking percentage, I think only these numbers just speak to what is just naturally and genuinely happening in my chair.
Yeah, and what you said, the other part of that is on the front end, and I love the way that, you've been living in the haircut, you're living in the color. Can I reach out to you? And it's how you're reaching out. I think before the show we were chatting about the overwhelming majority of the reach out is texting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And even the pre-visit is text. We're not talking about Instagram video, or but it's comfortable. And you're saying my clients would prefer a texting follow-up rather than a call.
They would. A lot of them, they're busy, they work, or they have families. Also, too, not everybody's as comfortable as you and I with this public speaking thing and talking on the phone. I mean, it comes natural to me. That's not the case for a lot of my clients. They don't want to be chit-chatting on the phone. So it gives them just that permission to respond at their leisure. sometimes, Michael, I had a new guest recently. She didn't get back to me for 10 days. And I thought, uh-oh, I mean, I thought she loved her hair. And then I heard from her. She's a mom of 4 and a working mom. And she gave me just this rave review. And it was 10 days later after my text.
Wow.
And so it just, I don't know, it's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is probably one of the best interviews that we've done in a very, very long time because of how organic, and the tutorial is just off the charts. I say this all the time. The essence of a great idea or process is simplicity, and your process is simply genius. It's like, oh wow, that makes so much sense. I can do that. It doesn't take sophisticated technology. I mean, we're talking about a mobile and texting people and even sending each other content on text. That's way, way different.
Yes.
It's not about direct messaging on Instagram, and the idea that you and your client are partnering to figure out, let's find a look and then figure out the budget that like you said, it just puts them at ease. My hunch is they're making a bigger commitment just because they feel comfortable. You said to me before the show, when my client has made a $300 commitment to me, I want to make sure that I'm following up to make sure that she's cool with it. So it's
Yes.
just, it's almost, it's magic. It's a magical process, but it's simple.
It's so simple, Michael. I had a thought, and maybe this is for somebody watching, but I feel some of the gals who are level 1 here, I chat with them and I coach some of them on the side. And I know that sometimes when you go from associate to level 1, it can be discouraging when clients might no show or cancel. And I really just want to speak to, if you take the time, even just the day before, to make that personal connection, you've already likely guaranteed their visit. I think when they don't have that personal connection with you, and maybe they just funneled through on a meet your stylist and they got paired with you, they might be nervous. Like, there's a myriad of reasons. That no-show might not just be them not caring. It's just simply they didn't have that connection, and so something came up and they canceled. But if you reach out, even through text or an email, I really think you're upping your percentage of keeping them in your chair and not having that situation happen time and time again.
Yeah, I would characterize you as an intuitive genius. That there's an intuition that if we can begin to bond with each other before you show up in a safe way, which is different than, right? It doesn't necessarily mean a phone call or FaceTime, but texting, which is the single safest way for all of us to text. I'll take a text before a phone call, hands down.
Yes.
Just because. And so you're saying one contact before, and that bonding lowers or eliminates the probability that you're going to get a 12th hour cancellation or a no-show. It really isn't about the person. It's about you forgot to tie that loose end down. Or I shouldn't say forgot. You didn't. And so now that becomes the 11th commandment. Thou shalt text and communicate before they show up in the name of them not showing you. Not showing.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I love it. You and I could write a book on this.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, yeah, this has been an extraordinary interview. I want to ask you one more question before I say goodbye to you, but I want to say, yes, I want you back not only for an encore, but you're you're a great teacher, because what you're pointing to is so obvious. It's like people don't have to say, "Oh, I need to think about that." It's like they go, "Oh my God, that's so true." I mean, it's just chock full with common sense. So somebody would go, "You know what? I can do that. I've got to do that. I'm going to do that." So I'll be following up with you if you're interested. I'd love to.
I would love that.
Oh, that would be cool. I get a sense you've been an educator before.
In small roles, yes.
Yeah. No, well, it's just wonderful to you're very, very inspiring. My last question for you is you're blowing up my dashboard tonight. People are sending you a lot of kudos and stuff, but people are looking at you, listening to you, relating and identifying with you. But the difference is you're in a place that they'd love to be. They're in a place that you were at before you started, and they're going, okay, so if I get back into the game, I wonder if I could come anywhere close to where she is. What might you say to them that might inspire them to give it a shot?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Michael, because I really care about that. I just met with a young gal here in town who's going to come in from a Summit Salon, and we met up for coffee, and we kind of had some of this similar conversation. At the end of the day, don't get too distracted with comparing yourself and talking yourself out of something. If that opportunity or that stirring to move in that direction is there, I think sometimes we just overcomplicate it. I know I do. At least Lisa's probably chuckling because I may simplify this, but there's a lot of other things that I overcomplicate. And so I would just tap into, what brings you peace and makes you come alive as you connect with others. You may not have this dynamic, extroverted personality like mine, but you might just be a servant and really care about taking care of others. Just start tapping into that, listening. And I swear, when you listen to others and you put them first and you take the opportunities that are around you or just kind of step out, a lot of neat things can happen.
I love it. Well, my friend, you are you're the real McCoy. You're the authentic article. So thank you very much for coming on, and I'm gonna have you back. We'll be
Great.
following up, and tell hi to all my buddies at LoneStar. Tell Lisa I love her to the moon and love you to the moon, and I cannot wait to pick up the conversation and where we left off. So Godspeed, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, we're gonna give it up for Allie one more time, you guys. All right, stay well. That was big, you guys. That was huge. That was probably, it was, if it wasn't the best interview, I'd have to think, when's the last time I was so inspired by an interview? I would say I'd have to think long and hard. So if this wasn't the best interview I've ever done, it would be what did they call a nomination, an Academy Award for the best interview. So there was so much to her story that we could really underscore. So I would encourage you to this interview is going to live on this page. We're going to edit it to the intro outro out so that you can watch it there, and we're going to cook it down to a micro learning so that it lives on. These are my handles for Facebook and Instagram. Michael Cole, Millionaire Stylist. The micro learning is gonna live on that page. So watch it. Be watching for it there. That'll probably be maybe a 10-minute version because it was so rich. So follow me on those platforms. And make sure that you turn other people on to Allie's message, because it's a great message, especially if you've been in the game a while and took some time off and you're thinking about re-engaging in the game. There's some real value there. Let me do a shameless plug on Summit Salon365.com. Latest, greatest, newest production value video content. I'm working on a whole course on mindfulness, mental, emotional wellness under the mindfulness, mindful living. And we've got the first piece of content on that, and we're about to put the next piece. So it's a modest subscription fee. Love it. And you can watch that 365 days a year. So thank you for the shameless plug. Hang out on summitsalon.com. It's where all of our other resources are that help people to get off to the right start that Allie's at. If you're not doing any working with any of our coaches, you can schedule a complimentary 30-minute virtual session with our coaches, and a lot of our coaching now is happening online via Zoom. So call our 800 number, and we'd be more than happy to set you up with that. Really excited about our new calculators. They're and it's under the SalonCalc.com. They're complements of L'Oreal. So we've got the Dream Machine on setting a goal to hit 100,000 W2 behind the chair. We've got the Golden Goose Calc that shows you how you can get to $1 million net worth inside of before you're halfway through your career. That sounds a lot better than decades. So if you're 20, if you're going to be in the game for an entire career, that's about a 35-40 year ride. We can get you to being a millionaire within halfway through. So our calcs, and they're fun. We've really it's powered by L'Oreal Suite of Salon Emotion. We always like to thank L'Oreal for what they do for us. We are powered by L'Oreal Salon Emotion. Use their brands, their wonderful brands, from Balayage, The Pulp, Kerastase Pureology, L'Oreal Professional, Redken, Shu, Mazzani, and of course Salon Emotion. So great show tonight. I'm gonna let you get to your get back to Din Din. Just wonderful. Let's give it up for Allie one more time, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great holiday.